Welcome to the More Than Scrubs podcast, a podcast where dentists and healthcare professionals can learn how to thrive in or beyond their 9-to-5 job. I mean, don't get me wrong, I love my scrubs. But in this podcast, I want to explore how we can build a side hustle, a business, or excel in our careers so that we can have that work-life balance that everyone's always talking about. Healthcare careers have evolved so much in the past decade, so let's find a way that we can evolve with them. My name is Dr. Kamal Chopra. I'm a dentist, a business owner, and I want to take you on this journey with me to find out how we can be more than scrubs. So let's dive straight into it. Welcome everybody to another episode of the More Than Scrubs podcast. Today I've got Aaron here. Aaron, can you introduce yourself to us?
Yeah, so my name's Aaron. I am a dentist, essentially qualified for the last 6 years. Private dentist, left the NHS about 2 years ago now. And yeah, just doing a few interesting things, like got my business and stuff like that. So I'm sure we'll talk about that kind of stuff. Sure,
we'll talk about it right now. So you're a dentist, but what else are you also doing?
So I run a business with my colleague Sarah. It's called Sereclean. So I think I'm sure some of you guys might have seen it.
We've got it there.
Oh yeah, we've got Sereclean right there. Yeah, there you go. Probably seen it online. Ultrasonic cleaning kind of solutions for like retainers, mouth guards, all dental appliances really, which is cool. And yeah, we're doing some interesting stuff in kind of the sports mouth guard section, area, which has been awesome. And slowly kind of transitioning out of clinical dentistry actually into something a bit more tech-based, which is interesting.
Okay, so firstly, let's just talk about, obviously we went to uni together, so I know, but when did you qualify and when did you feel like you wanted to do something a little bit more different than just clinical dentistry?
So I qualified in 2019. It was a bit of a weird year, I think, because obviously it was COVID very soon after that, because it was during my FD year.
Yeah.
So you kind of get into practice and you go from university to just kind of working really, and then it's quite a big jump.
Mm-hmm.
You're training and you're learning, and then I think obviously when we had COVID and we kind of just didn't do any dentistry from March onwards, it was quite difficult.
Yeah.
I think then the kind of landscape of what you expect to do after kind of FD year, which is going to an associate role, etc., etc. I think it changes because people were quite unsure about UDAs and things like that, and contracts. So people didn't really want to give long-term jobs to people because they weren't sure. So kind of September, October time, there wasn't, from what I know, a lot of really, really great opportunities. So I started locuming essentially, and then kind of built up my days from there. I think probably it's going to sound quite bad, but I think probably from about early 2021, I kind of felt I don't know if this is long term for me.
Yeah, which was after 1 year after your FD year?
Basically, yeah. No, basically after my FD year, yeah. So it would have been, FD year would have finished about August of 2020. And then I kind of didn't work for a month because I was looking for the right role. And then I started locuming in about September, October.
Mm-hmm.
And then I started a new role, kind of more full-time, alongside that role, obviously, about December. And I think probably by January, February, I don't know. I just didn't really, I wasn't enjoying it, put it that way. I wasn't enjoying kind of the way it was working, and it was very different to university. So I think that was probably what made me realize, I don't know if I can do this 5 days a week.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which I then proceeded to do it 5 days a week for the next 9 months without any break.
How was that?
Yeah, it was silly.
Did it confirm for you what you were thinking?
Yeah, I mean, it was a bit silly really, because I think people talk about burnout a lot.
Yeah.
And then naturally, all you do is then just work, and then you realize before you know it, oh wait, I'm burnt out now. I feel really awful. But it did, yeah, I think so. I think probably I felt and I think a lot of people feel this way. You've studied so long and you've done so much. If you were kind of feel do something different, it's a bit like a failure. You feel a bit like a failure, you didn't really give it a good shot.
Yeah.
And you don't want to upset anyone, your parents, stuff like that. They're Mom's oh, you work so hard. I didn't even tell her, to be honest, because that wasn't a conversation I was ready to have.
Yeah.
But you just don't want to think, oh, you've studied for so long and you're just throwing it away, So you really give it a go, and you maybe it's just me. Maybe I need to change where I'm working, or my attitude towards it, or maybe I need to do courses and things like that. And I think, yeah, that's kind of what I did after that. I kind of just did a few more different things,
Yeah. So from your perspective, you did try different practices,
different
courses, worked 5 days a week, tried locuming as well. Was that a choice, or were you just looking for the right job, so you did locoming while you were looking?
So the locoming thing was just more like there was opportunity, and then it became like a practice that I ended up working at, just because it was a good role, and the guys there were cool. Like, you know, the two people I worked for were really awesome. Like, they were just nice guys and pretty chill, and the practice was nice and it was local, so it kind of all worked out quite well. Then I needed to like fill up the other days, you know, so it was kind of like I think I was working on Monday and a half a day on a Thursday. And naturally, you want to make more money, right? So you just work more and more and more, and you take on more roles. That I had a job in Twickenham, which wasn't the best, really. I just I didn't really enjoy it. Basically, like, I went there and I handed in my notice basically within like 2 weeks.
Okay.
But it was a 3-month notice period, so I had to work like 3 months.
Yeah.
Just because I just realized, like, I just can't. Yeah, there's no way.
I think that's the scary part about starting a new job, because obviously you don't know what to expect, and then you have that notice period, and it's like just such a faff of, you know, starting something and not liking it. So yeah, so you had the 5 days a week.
Yeah.
When did you start to cut that down? Is that because you started to start other things, or you just wanted to cut it down because you were feeling burnt out?
I think I just probably wanted to cut down one day anyway, because I just wanted a bit more time. Because I think in FD you kind of have like half a Wednesday off sometimes, I think, for like study days.
FD is chill.
Yeah, so you have like one day, and that day used to be so good because I was like, oh, this is like, I can break up the week, and I forgot what that was like, you know. So mainly because I just wanted a bit of a break. That was probably the thing. And then I think from there, then because I had more time, I started to like explore different options, but not for a while, to be honest. I didn't actually explore a lot of new things until maybe like last year, maybe.
Yeah. Like, so it's okay to just cut down your days because you want to.
Yeah, absolutely.
And just to have a break, because 5 days a week is a lot to be a dentist.
Yeah, it is.
So after that, first came Sereclean, or anything else before that?
Yeah, so actually no, like I just did I tried to start like a recruitment kind of business with a couple of colleagues of mine, like because I just felt like, so essentially what I had was, there was an idea where I was working one day, or had a full list one day. Nurse unfortunately was unwell, and they couldn't get a locum in, so they had to cancel my whole day. So I was a bit like, oh damn, like that sucks. Like, you know, I'm not making any money, because obviously as dentists we're self-employed for the most part. Practice is not making any money either, so they lose out on the whole day. Patients are not happy, etc., etc. So I just thought, well, why is there not like an easier way to get a locum? Like, why do you have to ring up an agency, sit on the phone, etc., etc.? So I just thought, trying to do something different. That was cool. I mean, I learned a lot, obviously. I ended up exiting out of that due to like creative differences with the people I was working with. Like, no hard feelings really. It was just like they wanted to go this way with it, and I was like, you know what, I can't really commit to that, so I'll exit out. So that was it was a good opportunity, and it was a good like experience. I think you learn. I think when you start running your own business, and you get into the business like side of things, you start learning how much goes into it. And I think there's a lot of people out there who say, like, you know, you need to fail a lot of times before you're successful.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah,
like your first business plan is not going to be.
You'll be the luckiest person in the world, right? Like, first idea is going to be great. Like, and obviously I'm sure that's everyone's thought process. People don't go into business thinking, oh, it's fine, I'll fail, but I'll learn a lot. You think it's going to work.
Yeah.
But naturally you start to learn more and more and more. And I think that's the reason why people's kind of like 100th or 200th idea ends up being the thing that really takes them off.
And I think when people see people with a successful business, they probably assume that was their first idea and it was so easy to get there. But I think anyone who's tried to start a business would know that that's not really how it works.
No, not at all. Like, there's just so many things you come up against, and like when you're working with people as well, like they say don't go into business with friends.
Yeah.
I mean, I can understand where that comes from, because sometimes you have to make some really hard decisions where, like, sometimes your friendship gets in the way because you're like, I don't want to upset this person. But I think when you're around the right people with understanding and like maturity, you understand that's not a problem. You know, it's actually more beneficial to go into kind of business with friends, really, because then you know your like strengths and weaknesses.
Okay.
So actually I found like my most successful things have been actually with friends, as opposed to people who I didn't see as friends. You know, people who I didn't see as friends, I didn't really have as much kind of loyalty to like going the extra mile to like help them out when they needed help or do more for them. It was kind of more like, well, this is my job and I'm doing my job, and this is your job and you're not doing your job. So like, what's happening, you know?
Yeah, I guess if you have a friend that has the same vision, then it works.
Yeah.
If not,
yeah, then it's tough. Yeah, obviously. But then I think also it's about being respectful to understand that, like, I think the problem, especially just in general in the world, is that like some people in the world, and I think it's the problem with dentistry as well, actually, mainly, is that people think there's only one way. If someone's experienced doing something successfully for themselves, they feel like that's the only way then to be successful. And that's just not the case, right? Like, great, it worked for you, fantastic, and I'm glad it was successful. But then to apply that context to like every single other situation isn't the right thing to do, because there's other ways to do it, right? And I think sometimes that can, when you're quite headstrong and you think, well, I know it works, I did it, and it worked that time, so I'm going to keep doing the same thing, which is absolutely fair, like complete respect to people who do that. But the people around you might not always believe in that vision, you know?
Yeah.
And I think it's important to know that sometimes there's other people with really good ideas and good opportunities. And even if you don't see it initially, you should trust people that you're, around, right? If you believe in them, then, but it doesn't always work out, Otherwise, everyone would own businesses and everyone would be like famous and successful, right?
Yeah, exactly. Everyone has their own strengths, I guess. So after your recruitment idea, how did you get to Sereclean?
So actually, it was really interesting. So I'm not sure if Sarah's like told you kind of like how it happened, but Sarah is like the brains behind the whole thing. Like, she created the whole brand. She kind of designed the product. She created the business, basically. She is the founder of it. I came along when we were kind of like, she already had the product. She had the idea, the vision, as an opportunity to try and help out, essentially, right? So I guess I call myself a co-founder because I think what we've done now it's been a lot. It's been almost a year.
Yeah.
And we've done a lot of other stuff which I've been quite heavily involved in. But the initial like Sereclean, like that's Sarah, right? And I felt very honored because she actually came to me with the idea and asked me if I wanted to kind of go into business together. And I think that was quite cool because I think it gave me validation that someone else that in reality, I met her in FD year, right? And we got along like we do, obviously, it's natural. But really after that, like, it's not like we were always hanging out together and like doing those stuff together and stuff like that. She actually came to my wedding, which is because I think she's my friend, obviously, right? And she's cool, but I'm trying to explain it as like, it's like we're not like everyday chatting.
Yeah.
Obviously, if you get busy, right? So
she thought of you.
Yeah, and that was cool.
Why do you think that was?
I don't know, actually.
There must be something.
Yeah, I think we have the same like kind of. I think we come from like very similar cultures, which is the first thing. I think definitely during FD year we would kind of hang out together, have the same ideas, have the same kind of like mentality. Like work quite hard. We would definitely like we would talk now and again and say like, this is not working, like etc. etc. Like, how do I fix this? And we'd help each other out. So like we'd sometimes problem solve for each other, which was quite cool. And I think because of that, she understood that obviously I'm in the industry as well. I think from an aspect, there was probably like a financial aspect there as well, because naturally it's hard to run a business by yourself as well.
Yeah.
That's what it is. You seek out people who you want to invest in your business because, you need support. And I think that she came to me because she realized obviously financially I could help out, which is great. Mentality wise, we're very similar. I'm also in the industry. We're also friends. So I think it all kind of lined up quite nicely. And it took a bit of consideration naturally because I was kind of like, a few different things were happening in my life at that time. So it was kind of like, I had to really think about it. But yeah, and then I just said, this is cool. Like, and I had a similar idea anyway, which is really weird. Like, because patients would constantly ask me like, how do I clean my aligner or my retainer? And I kind of be like, not sure really, like just brush it. And then you start to look more into it, right? Because you're like, people keep asking me this question.
Yeah.
I need to have a better answer than, I'm not sure, or go on Amazon. Like, that's not a really responsible answer, I think, as a healthcare professional to someone who's actively asking for the help,
guidance,
guidance or hygiene for something that you're providing to them.
Yeah,
right?
Since it's been introduced to me, it's so easy to just tell somebody, just buy this.
That's it. And
your problems are solved.
That's it. And it really is. Like, I'm not here to like do an advert for it, basically, but it is honestly the best. It's one of the best things I own. Like, it just, the return on investment you get from just kind of preserving your things that you wear every day, like the hygiene around it. Like, I essentially had like 2 sets of retainers. I did my own Invisalign before my wedding. So then I had 3 sets of retainers like you get for Vera or whatever.
Yeah.
And I got through the first 2 sets in like 6 months because they were just awful.
Yeah.
Like, they just got so like grimy and nasty. And I was like, I'm a dentist and like, this is happening to me, right? And I know what to do. So surely everyone else is suffering, right? And I paid like, obviously I paid the lab bill because I did it myself, but people are paying like £3,500, £4,000 for this kind of stuff. And a set of Vera retainers is about 450 usually, right? As in like 3 sets of them. That's a big investment. If you're getting through like 2 sets in like a year, like how much are you paying a year?
I think people do assume that you just chuck them away, but actually if you just keep them clean, you can have them for ages.
Yeah, like my 3rd set, which I've been using since I got in the Sereclean pod, since I got it, since obviously I had the sample pod that we made. It's been about a year, and I think it's been about a year now. They're perfect. They're literally perfect. They look like they just come out of the packet.
Yeah.
Because I used it every day since I got it. So like I said, not to like promo it, but it's
I mean,
literally
it's your product, so it's okay to, if
I know,
you
but
believe in it, then
I massively believe in it. Like
yeah.
it's single-handedly one of the best things I've ever been involved in, and I just when I see people use it and I see patients use it and then they come back to me and say like, oh my God, this is awesome. It's just like, it's such a nice
Yeah,
validation.
that's really good.
Because then you get reviews and like, people who don't like, they don't have to do this stuff. They don't have to come and tell me these things,
Yeah.
or like dentists who are kind of recommending it to their patients. Patients are coming back to them and like really, really thanking them. They don't have to then tell me, oh, thanks, Aaron. Like, I really appreciate you giving us that code or like
Yeah.
giving us these pods. I'm like, listen, man, this is what it's for, I would never, ever invest or be in a business of something that I didn't think was like a legitimate product.
It was a product and the fact that it was Sarah,
Oh yeah,
like mixed together.
yeah.
You haven't necessarily worked together before. Obviously, you get along, you have the same kind of, I guess, vision or ambitions.
Yeah.
Ethics.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah. But how do you know that? So when she approached you, what is it that really like stood out to you and thought that, yeah, I can work with somebody? And I think also from Sarah's side, it's really admirable that she did approach you because some people might think I have to do everything by myself.
Absolutely.
And I have to just keep everything to myself as well. So from both sides, what do you think it was?
So I think it's just from my side, I'm like, I feel like I know Sarah to a decent extent, like in a professional setting and also in a personal setting. So we went to like, we went on like our FD trip to like Chicago and like Vegas.
Yeah, I was so jealous of you
yeah,
guys.
it was too fun. That was like the best trip, like one of the best trips ever.
Yeah.
And I think it's weird when you go on holiday with someone, you see them outside of a clinical setting and you're like, you know what, like I see all that the little micro decisions you make when it comes to certain things, and then you start to realize how similar you are. Like you understand those things, and I think I knew how driven she was. I knew how committed she was. I knew what her motivations were, because we would talk about these things, like like not regularly, but like now and again when we had the chance. It'd be mainly just be like a complaining session, like we just like therapy basically, where we just like, oh, this didn't go so well, and like that didn't go so well, and I'm thinking about this. So I just believed in her, and I was like, you know what, I was thinking about doing something similar anyway, and now someone who's like a very good friend of mine, who's very like smart, very intelligent, very driven, has brought me this opportunity. I feel like the stars were just aligning.
Yeah.
Do you know? Like I feel like sometimes I truly believe, and especially after everything that's happened this year with me in my life, which has been pretty difficult to be honest. I feel like God doesn't give you stuff when you want it. He doesn't give you stuff when you want it. He gives you stuff when you're ready. And I don't think I don't think you ever understand that until you're in the situation. You only have ever like having foresight is very difficult. It's easy to have hindsight and be like, oh, I wish I did that. I wish I did that. But I feel like these opportunities arise when they're meant for you.
Yeah.
As opposed to when you really want them, And you can say like, oh, I really want to do this and I really want to do that. And when it doesn't happen, you kind of rue it. Like, oh, why? And like my life's so difficult. But you don't realize that God is really saving you from something worse happening. And like actually he's just saving you for the moment where you actually are ready to take it on and really get the benefit out of it. And that's how I felt. I felt like it was really weird because I had an issue with another job. I left another job. I was like unsure about dentistry, and then bang, like an opportunity like this arises. I'm like, great, like I can't ignore this.
Yeah.
No, so that was mainly it, really. Yeah.
Nice. So if somebody's listening, they have an idea and they may not necessarily know what to do or not do it by themselves, what other things that what other actions that they should be taking? So firstly, you said Sarah came to you with the idea. If I had an idea and I wanted your help, for example, what am I kind of doing?
So I would say like it is more so kind of understanding like what your market is, what the pain points are, what your networks are, who you can reach, what your like I think people underestimate soft factors. So like just walking into a room and just being personable and just being charming and like being able to like not be too kind of like in your face about certain things, and kind of like be too aggressive with your approach. Really, I think understanding those kind of things is important. I think from a design aspect, obviously, like I said, Sarah kind of like completely mastered that. Like that was awesome. But I think what you do is then you give someone a different perspective, and let them think, well, like, have you seen it from like this point of view? Like, have you seen it from maybe like this idea? Like maybe that color wouldn't be so good because of X, Y, and Z. So I think it's always good to have other people to bounce ideas off.
Yeah.
Just because you always get perspectives of things that you don't understand. And I think as I've got older, I've really started to understand like, the value in really sitting there and just taking in everyone's opinions. Even if you don't like agree, it's not about always agreeing, it's about understanding that like they're coming from a place in their mind that they think it's right. So how do you put yourself in that person's shoes and see where they're coming from? Because then it opens up a lot of opportunities.
Yeah.
So I think that's probably the thing I would say. I'd say, you know, if you've got an idea, definitely try and seek out some advice. Obviously, do it like make sure you have all the things in place to make sure no one steals
So
your idea.
basically have a business plan, something that's easy to, I guess, for the other person to understand.
Yeah.
And vision.
That's it. Yeah, like just make it very obvious, like what the pain point you're solving is. So I think that's the problem. Sometimes we kind of like want to create things, but we don't understand like what problem is this solving?
Yeah.
Right. People want problem solved, simple. Anywhere in the industry you go, whether it's software, products, healthcare, like, you know, building work, people have an issue and they want that problem solved, and they want that problem solved as conveniently as possible with the least stress for them as possible.
Yeah.
So how can you solve that problem, and what steps you need to take to get to a point where you solve that problem, right?
Yeah.
And I think that's the most important thing when you're going to someone with an idea, whether you're pitching it to like your friend or your business partner, or, you know, like me and Sarah have done this a lot now, where you pitch to like big companies and stuff like that. You have to make it very clear, because their time is money, you know?
Yeah.
So you have to be like, this is the problem, I want to solve it, because people love to know the people love to know the brand story, but people are busy. So you need to get to the point like straight, because they need to know like A is the problem, B is the solution, C is how we make it work.
Yeah.
Cool. We can talk about the other stuff after. Now I'm interested, you know?
Okay.
Because sometimes you only get like 10 seconds to pitch to someone sometimes. You know, like there's a lot of times when I know for a fact, if I'm talking to someone, within the first about 15 seconds, they're deciding if they want to have the product or not.
Yeah. So that's when they say elevator pitch. You have to have that.
That's it. Yeah.
Done. So when it comes to the product, when did you realize that it's something that can be monetized, can replace, I guess, some of the clinical days that you're doing as well?
I think it's not, I would say like it's not from like a monetary point of view. I think at the moment, I think when you start a business like this, it's very much in terms of like a long-term vision.
Yeah.
You take a pay cut, and you do, because you actually physically cannot work a full-time job and also run a business. I mean, you know what, actually you can. I lied. There's people out there who do that, and it's commendable to them to do that.
Yeah.
I don't think you can do dentistry 5 days a week and run a business. I think it's very tough. So I think you have to take time. You have to put investment into it, and people forget that like it's not just an investment of time, but when you don't work as a dentist, you're losing money.
Yeah.
You don't get paid to just sit around, you know? So I think at that point, really, I knew if I want to make this work and we want to do this properly, you have to kind of decide like, well, I can't work certain few days, right? Because I have to be like, you know, sorting out forms. I need to be like sorting out orders. I need to be marketing. I need to be talking to people, you know, I need to go places. I need to actually be on my feet and walking into people, because I think there's this whole kind of idea of like emailing people, right? Like, God, let's just send out 1 million emails. People don't respond to emails. Emails don't work. Like, I mean, you have to be very, very, very lucky to have good response rates on emails, you know?
So what are you doing differently?
I'd say like actively visiting people, like talking to people, going into practices, speaking to them. I think it's easier to walk into a practice when you're a dentist. You just have cachet and people are like, oh, cool, like you're a dentist. Great.
Yeah.
I'm a dentist, I'll speak to you. And you don't come across very salesy. I think the problem is like everyone's trying to sell everything, you know? And it's hard because it's not like you're walking into an office where everyone's just around. You can't really walk into a dental practice any other time other than lunchtime to speak to a practice principal because they're working, right?
Yeah.
Or a practice manager. So I think just being on the ground and just like creating networks, relationships, I think you need to water these relationships early, and then eventually they blossom into things. You can't get disheartened by like having a conversation with someone, it not really going anywhere, and then being like, oh, that didn't work out. Oh God, like we didn't do it. It doesn't. Things that you don't think are gonna kind of like become fruitful. 6 months down the line, someone messages you and it becomes a thing. So you always need to keep
planting the seed.
That's it. You always need to keep good relationships with people and like just make sure that you're not pushy. You know, don't force it. If they truly believe in your product and they see the value in it, they'll come. It's got to the point now where more people are reaching out to us than we are to them.
Amazing.
Which is great. Like that's what you want, right? So.
Okay, cool. So the whole point of this podcast is to let people know that there are other things out there, that we can be more than scrubs. We don't just have to be in our scrubs 5 days a week. And what I've gotten from what you've said so far is that, yes, if you have a good idea, you can start a business, you can basically excel in that area, but it takes time. It takes a pay cut, most likely. It takes you being more active than just emailing or, you know, I guess messaging people on Insta. You have to actually go and meet people, network, And what other skills do you think a person should have if they want to go into something like this?
I think resilience is really important. I think it's actually from dentistry, actually, you tend to need it a lot because things don't go your way. I think when you qualify, it's really tough. I think like if it was like a percentage thing, I think when you go into practice, it's kind of like 70% really difficult stuff and you're really stressed out, and 30% things go well, and then that bar and like kind of changes as you get through the years, right? So you have to really learn resilience and just not letting the things that don't go so well kind of like knock you so much. I think that's probably what's served me quite well with this kind of the business that's going on, obviously, and like what we're doing in the industry is that you can't just get disheartened by the fact that things don't go well the first time. Like you have to be resilient. You have to just keep believing in your vision, and you have to kind of just keep the faith and just keep motivated. It's tough. Like it's very tough, especially when like the savings are dwindling and like the income's not there and like, things aren't going well. But, you have even like during the week, you'll be like, Monday things will be good. And then Tuesday, Wednesday, you're not so good. And you feel like, oh, it's not great. And then Thursday, it's like, what happened? So, you have to just be resilient and don't let the highs get you too high and don't let the lows get you too low. Try and keep like an even keel of like, cool, like not done anything yet. Still need to keep working, still need to keep working.
For example, like if you make a sale one day, you'll be like so happy. And then the next day there's nothing. And then you're just like, oh shit,
and that's
everything's going terribly.
That's it, and that's what it was at the start. Like, I mean, like when it first started, first sale we got, we're like, oh, this is awesome, like so good. And then we didn't get anything for like a couple of days. We're like, oh, and then you get like 6, and you're like, oh my god, this is great, this is gonna be amazing. And then like get like 2, and it just, but then you actually look, and then when you go through like the 3-month or 4-month trend, you realize actually like it's just gone like, and you're like, oh, actually, wait, when we look back on it, the first month, like for example, like how long it took us to get to our first 100 sales to then the second 100 sales is like it's night and day. Like the second 100 was just like bang, like it just went straight up, whereas the first 100 was really like small and staggery, really, so and you'd hope that it carries on, but it might not.
So in that first 100, how do you obviously be resilient, but what do you do to stop yourself from like getting into your head too much?
It's tough, really. I don't know. I think you need to have things outside of the business as well, and obviously outside of work. Like I think for me it was football. Like if I go and play football, like I don't think about anything else ever. Like I'm just playing. Like I can have like 3 times a week, 90 minutes or so, 2 hours of time where I don't have to think about anything other than just what I'm doing in myself. Whether that's like healthcare, like if you're like your fitness, like going to the gym, like or like going to the spa, or like reading, or like I think you need to have something other than what you're doing, because some people out there will tell you, you need to be like on the business 100%. Focus. Focus and drive and like, and obviously but there's also efficiency. Be efficient with your time, and I think I've learned that's probably a massive skill. Be efficient with the hours you have in the day, because if you sit there and wallow too much, you've lost like half an hour, you've lost like 45 minutes, you've lost an hour when you could have been doing something productive and you feel a lot better. Like I've always had one way of dealing with stress, which is that like, for example, exams, for example, right? I'm the kind of person, like, if I'm stressed about exam, the only way I'm not going to be stressed is if I go and revise and I go do work. I can't do anything else. Like someone will be like, oh, go and have like a coffee. I'm like, no, let me do the work. And once I do the work, then I'll feel a lot better. Fair,
because you're actually like, if you're not doing it, you're feeling guilty about not doing it anyway.
That's it, exactly. So I don't feel like I've earned the rest period, but that's specifically with studying.
Yeah.
Business stuff is different. It's different. Like you need to take your mind off things, because if you're like, it's like it's like the thing that they say when you're looking at something too closely, you miss like the bigger picture. Sometimes you got to step back a little bit. It's like looking at a radiograph, Sometimes you're looking at a radiograph too closely, you can't see anything, and then you look back, you're like, oh, that's obviously caries. You're like, oh, that's obviously like a lesion on the root or something like that. So you just need to take a step back, and then when you come back to something, sometimes after being fresh, the ideas just start flowing. You're like, cool, I know how to get around that problem now. Or like, I feel much more like relaxed and then deal with this problem. Doing stuff when you're stressed out in those scenarios isn't a good idea.
Yeah, I guess there's no magic way, but it's just practice, right?
That's
like
it.
You will slowly just get used to the idea. Obviously, it's good to make sure you have like backup in terms of like income, for example. But eventually, if you've got a good, like you said at the beginning, if you've got a good business plan there, then there's no reason why it shouldn't go well, as long as you're not spiraling.
That's it, yeah. And you're not like kind of just being silly with the money you have and like spending it on silly things, or like, because you will do a lot of stuff that doesn't work. You'll spend a lot of money on stuff that doesn't work, and you only know that when you do it and you learn like, actually, wait, you know what, that's working better. So let's put more time and effort into that, because that's working better. And then that stops kind of working, and then you just pivot. Like you have to be like, you have to improvise, and you've got to be able to pivot quickly, you know, because market opportunities are always there.
But it does tell me it's not for everyone. Like everything you're saying makes me think that not everybody would be suitable to be a business person, because some people's personalities, they just can't.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, I think some people prefer to work in like jobs which are more secure and like have a steady paycheck, and be people who are like working for someone else, because that's more comfortable, and like for them that is, and like that's, you know, a bit more of like a set, this is what you have to do, this is your job description.
Yeah.
And absolutely, like I think that's absolutely fine. Like it's absolutely fair. There's loads of people who are massively successful who do that every day. I think it's just all about different personality types. Like who's to even know if I'm the business type of person, right? It's like I'm not exactly massively successful yet. We've tried something. Maybe in 5-10 years time I can look back and be like, yeah, actually it worked out. But maybe it doesn't.
But also that doesn't like what defines success, because it's not just being a millionaire or whatever. If you're happy every day, that's it. That's pretty good.
That's it. Like people who run businesses every day who just run it, like for example, they've got the normal income, but they run their own diaries, and they get to walk their dog in the morning, and they get to like, you know, be at home with their family and go take their kids to sports days and stuff. That is success, right? Like that is success for me. Like if I can have the time to spend with my family and my friends and support them and like provide for them, I don't really need anything else. Like obviously, yeah, everyone wants to be rich and like have loads of money and everything, but in reality, all the people you speak to who are like that, who I know anyway, always say the same thing, which is that like that doesn't make you happy.
There's other ways to be rich.
Yeah, exactly. That's a good point. Exactly that. Like I think the rich, like there was a moment when I was like I was sat at home. It was like in December or something like that, and it was me and my wife was sitting on the sofa, and my she was a puppy at the time. She was there, and I was playing with her, and I said to my wife, I was like, I really just want to like just capture this moment, because I was like, I know there's gonna be a time in the future where I wish I could come back here.
Yeah.
So like you need to
That's really nice.
Yeah, and it was cool, and I always think back to that because I was like, that was cool, you know. Like I felt like the richest man in the world at that time, because I was like, I've got my family, I've got my friends, like I've got my dog who's like everything to me, right? So it's just like, yeah, I think when you have a dog, you realize like that is like your whole life, right? Honestly. So those moments make you realize that like other stuff doesn't matter.
Yeah,
and
100%.
And then other things happen in life, you know, like trauma and death and things like that. And yeah, it just gives you a wider perspective that there's a lot of stuff that doesn't really matter, you know, things that people put a lot of precedent on.
Yeah.
Like I was talking to like a few of my friends the other day. We tend to talk like once a week. We'll just jump on a group call, and they were like, he was saying like, someone said, you have a lot of problems until you have a health problem. Then you've only got one problem.
Yeah. 100%.
And I was like, that's a very, and I felt like, you know, I felt that this year as well. So like, you know, it's very true. Yeah. Everyone thinks they've got a lot of issues until there's a real problem. Then you've only got one problem. You know, then everything else doesn't matter. You know, work doesn't matter. You know, whether or not you're gonna like buy the thing you want to buy or go on holiday, that stuff does not matter.
Yeah.
It's you and your life and your family, you know. So it's important. Yeah.
I think it's a human thing though to forget.
Yeah, of course.
Like literally, hopefully when you get 100% better, you'll be like, oh, I've got problems again.
That's it. This is it. Like everyone, I think it's like when you're ill, right? Like when you're like ill and you're in bed, and you're like, oh, if I could just not be ill, I'll be so grateful. And then you progressively get better, and you're like, oh, I'll be fine. Like, you know, and then the next time you get ill again, you're like, oh, I thought I was gonna be fine, but it's just exactly, it's completely human, right?
Yeah. It's a good skill to like remember that.
Yeah.
Remind yourself that there's bigger things in life.
Yeah.
And, you know, again, like the point of this podcast is just to show that you're not stuck where you are. Like there's so many other different things that you can do, and it's basically not that deep sometimes.
Literally.
Like, so just take like you said about radiographs, like take a step back, go exercise, do whatever, and then come back and you will kind of see everything clearly. And whether that comes to business, whether that comes to being a dentist, whatever. But yeah, basically sometimes it's just not that deep. And health, mental health, physical health is what's most important.
Yeah, I mean, you're not trapped, right? I think that's the thing, people sometimes think they're trapped, especially in like dentistry. In fact, you've got like golden handcuffs on sometimes. Yeah. You're not trapped. Like most people are so young. Like, you know, I'm just turned 30 and I'm just exploring different things. People will be like, oh, you know, like you're 30, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, so what? You know,
you've got like literally the rest of your life.
I've got like 30 years
to try different things.
I've got like 30 years to work, right? Like some people are 40 and they change careers. The great thing about dentistry is that you meet so many people. Yeah. And you meet so many different people, and then you listen to their stories, because obviously you just talk to them, right? And like you just meet so many cool people. Like, oh, I did this, and then at 50 I changed my career and now I'm doing this. Yeah. And you're like, oh, cool. Like actually wait, so you can actually change your career. Yeah. I don't have to just do something like the same thing over and over again, even if I'm not enjoying it. So it's at any moment, like as long as you have support around you, which I'm sure hopefully most people do, if they're lucky enough to have support around them, you're fine, you know? Just
Yeah.
do what makes you happy.
And I think even if it's like coming away from dentistry for a bit because you just feel like it's not for you right now,
Exactly.
and you can always go back. There's no rule to, obviously, as long as you're keeping your skills up,
Yeah.
but there's no rule to say you can't go back. So what's your weekly schedule like at the moment?
So Monday I work at a practice at the moment from 8 till 6. Tuesday I work from home as in like a business. Wednesday I just left a practice, so I'm again working business stuff. Thursday I do a half day, so it's like it alternates between morning and afternoon sessions depending on what week it is, and then Friday again I've left another practice, so I'm just a business stuff. So yeah, and then starting some out of hours things on the weekend soon. So yeah, I mean a day and a half in dentistry clinically at the moment.
Nice.
Which
How
will
are you
be
finding it?
yes, I mean it's okay. Like it's fine. I mean it's kind of nice to have a break from dentistry, but mine's not been kind of like a working loads to not working that much kind of jump.
Yeah.
It's like a
It's like
progressive.
slowly.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, exactly.
But
And
you're
then-
not part-time because you're obviously doing other things.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So people think, oh, like, you know, you're not working clinically, so you're not working. It's
Yeah.
like, no, actually, I work harder. Like on the clinical days are actually a break because I'm like, I just have to go to work and I just do the work and then I come home.
Yeah.
But even like Sarah will say, you know, I'm sure you talked to Sarah about it. In between patients, like you're doing things, you know, at lunch, I'm doing things, you know, there's not a moment's rest until basically I get home and I put my head on my pillow. And then I'm just like, cool, and we go to sleep. And then I wake up, work out in the morning. That's like a break. And then from like 7:30, I'm just on again. You know, just on the whole day, just doing stuff.
Okay.
But you get used to it. So
Yeah. How do you switch off?
it used to be football. Like I used to be playing football. Unfortunately, I ruptured my Achilles back in February, so I've not played for about 13 weeks now. So that's been tough. So at the moment, it's just I mean, it's been difficult. Like the last 3 months have been like really tough. Because like I've not really had any escape. People will be like, you know, like you can do other things, but I don't really do anything else. You know, I obviously I you know chill with my wife and like my dog and stuff like that, and I work out, but it's not the same. You know, that's the social aspect of playing football and seeing my friends and like doing those things.
Yeah.
I don't have that anymore. So switching off now is like I don't know. It's tough. Probably just watch some TV really,
Yeah.
which isn't the most healthy thing all the time. But yeah, just sit there and go on my phone and just do the normal things. Really.
Anything that you might want to implement till you get better and you can play football. When can you play football again?
Hopefully, I'm aiming for an event. People have said to me, "Oh, you're going to play again?" And I was like, "Yeah, like hell yeah, I am.
Yeah.
Of course I am." Like probably November, December. I'm aiming for like it's going quite well. Like that's that my physio is going quite well, and like I'm doing all the things I need to do and like looking after myself and you know progressing nicely. But I'm hoping November. You know, I'm hoping November, December. But a lot of people don't. A lot of people take about a year to get back to any sort of like sporting activity properly. Which is fine. Like time flies. Time absolutely flies. Like a year is nothing, right? In the grand scheme of things, you know. And it's given me a lot of perspective on like my life and like how I was living it and what I was doing and putting other things first. I was putting everything above my above my health.
Yeah.
And then this happened. Like I said, like God kept trying to tell me like stop it. Like this is hurting and that's hurting, and I just kept ignoring it. Even though like last year I got injured and I said, oh, I'll never do that again. Like I'll look after myself. You get better and you just carry on.
Yeah.
And I kept overworking it. Kept like not sleeping enough because I was working too much, and then trying to play football 3 times a week and work out, and you know not eating the right things, not supplementing properly, and then and then it just all kind of cascaded into one major event, which had to basically make me stop. Physically could not walk, so they were like you know you cannot do anything. So that was good, but switching off now is probably just I think probably just I would like to maybe implement some sort of like Pilates, like yoga, like mindfulness, meditation, that stuff. I've kind of looked into it more and more. You know, go to the Gurdwara more. You know, I've not been great with going like in the last few years, and you know, you make excuses, but every time you go, you feel so good.
Yeah, 100%.
Like I feel so good whenever I go, and I just sit there and just actually just take in why I'm there. So I think do some more seva, like you know, go there and help out more. Like I think I wasn't able to, and when I really wanted to, you know, and now I can. I'm going to. So I think that's probably the thing I want to implement more probably.
Yeah. So there's ways apart from
sports.
Your hobbies in terms of sports, spirituality, meditation.
That's it.
Just becoming closer to
just something,
your soul.
That's
I guess.
it, yeah.
So take me back to when you qualified. because we know that a lot of dentists face stress when they first qualify. They face a lot of kind of issues that they didn't know they were going to face because university is so different to going out in the real world. So what were the kind of main things that you had to deal with?
I think just not being confident at doing certain treatments, like, wanting to do everything. I think when you come out, you feel like you have to do everything. You have to be good at doing everything. And it's just not the case, I think you get stressed out because like things like molar RCT is very difficult because you don't really do a lot of it at uni. Like you probably do maybe like a couple if you're lucky. I think you have to do like 2, but you're not proficient at it, and as much as you want to be. Expectations of patients, trying to always meet everyone's expectations. But that's like, it's always nice to try and be helpful, but sometimes you take on burdens that shouldn't be your burdens.
Yeah.
And then when you don't then kind of like live up to the expectations of what the patient wants, you feel like really responsible. So I think that's something that like was quite difficult initially, and just realizing that actually it's okay to say no. It's okay to say, listen, I'm sorry, I can't actually do this for you because I'm just not like the level that you require. There's no shame in telling someone, I don't think I can meet your expectations at the level that you need, and I'm going to refer you to someone who I think can. Absolutely no problem. People respect that, and I think it's much easier to be a man in dentistry. So I don't really have as many issues, I think, sometimes maybe that female dentists have as well, because no one looks at me and thinks, oh, you can't do it just because you're a woman, for example, right? Whereas a lot of women get that in dentistry, which is just completely ridiculous. Like,
then we have something to prove.
Yeah, literally. Like, it's like, I feel like that's the
more.
thing. Like, you walk in there and there's a different mentality. Like, I can't imagine, like, just being a woman in general is just much harder in life, right? Like, everything is much harder. So, like, I'm speaking of perspective of actually privilege of the fact that since day one, other than the fact that I looked a bit young, there was no, like, inkling of, oh, well, you can't do this.
Yeah.
Right? So I had other battles of actually people expecting me to be able to do things that I can't, so I'm like, oh, I'm not confident. So I think that was probably the main thing, is just understanding that like there was limitations on my skill and how did I fill those gaps? Because like I said, our FTE got cut in half basically. Just when you have learned some things, and then you, from the period of like March to August is when you're kind of really supposed to be implementing stuff, really. Like, now you've done everything, hit your target, now do loads of it. So do more and more and more of it.
That's tough, actually, because you are basically just thrown into like, what am I doing? And also it was COVID, so it was literally like such a random time anyway. Like everyone was trying to figure out what to do.
That's it.
But okay. And how did you, well, I was going to say one thing when you said that is the only way you know that you can say no is like you have to make those mistakes sometimes.
Yeah.
And you have to get humbled. And then you realize, okay, I can't do everything, and it's okay. Basically, there's always somebody else that's out there that will help you and will be able to take over if you've done something that, or unable to finish something. So again, coming back to the theme of it's not that deep sometimes, and we just have to remind ourselves that.
Yeah, I think dentistry is like I said, it's not that big of a deal. Like, let's be honest, like you're dealing with, when we're not dealing with like people, or not most of us anyway, we're not dealing with people who have like terminal illnesses. Treating, like, for example, GPs like are dealing with absolutely every problem under the sun. We have a very niche profession that we work in, and it's a privileged profession that we work in, but we also have the privileges of the fact that like actually there's things like, there's only a few certain things that are going to happen to teeth, right? Get decay, fracture, RCT, crowns, like there's a certain branch of things that you can do.
And you learn that over time. You just figure it out. Like, oh, there's a trend and this is what's going to happen.
This is literally it, exactly. Because common things happen commonly, And I think that's important to understand that, like, when you're ever unsure about something, you just have to realize that, you know what, like you said, there's always someone out there who's going to help and someone out there who can manage it. So like, okay, cool. Like, for example, like there was an age-old thing in dental school. It was like, oh my God, like don't perforate, like, oh my God, or like, oh, don't break a file in a tooth. Listen, if you're doing a lot of RCT, you're going to perforate. If you're doing a lot of RCT, you are going to break a file in a tooth. It's going to happen. It's just it's a law of probability. It's going to happen. If you're doing dentistry, you're going to have complaints. Just, you have to become comfortable with that idea and understand nothing's going to happen. The world's not going to end. If you explain stuff to the patient properly, have good communication, and you manage it properly, that's fine. And obviously, there's some scenarios where some patients are going to be really mean about things. But then, like I said previously, you always have to kind of try and have empathy and put yourself in their shoes. You don't know what they're going through. You don't know what time they've taken off from work from this. You don't know anything about the situation other than the fact that they've got a problem that unfortunately now is a bit of a bigger problem.
Yeah.
So you need to be understanding of that, and that if they're a bit upset at the time, just accept that and manage the situation. Don't become defensive. Just understand that the wider goal is just to manage the patient and look after the patient. And if they know that you have their best interest at heart, 99.9% of people are going to be like, it's fine. Like, I was a bit upset at the time. I'm sorry. Thank you for giving me to the person who manages it.
Yeah.
Obviously, don't charge them for the mistake you've made, which I wouldn't do. Just refer them on and just give your best advice as much as possible. I think that's probably the best advice I can give to any young dentist is just try and have as much empathy as possible, because you will learn a lot by just putting yourself in someone else's shoes and understanding.
Yeah, that's true. I think it is that we get defensive very quickly and we're kind of like ready to, I think it's probably that fear of litigation or whatever we've like has been drilled into our minds. But sometimes, most of the time, people are not out there to just get you.
Yeah.
Like they're pissed off as well about something. And if you just diffuse the situation, it's fine.
Yeah, everyone's got their own problems, right?
Yeah.
Everyone's got their own problems. Like, everyone's got something going on. I think that's important to understand that, like, just because they look okay and they look like they're happy doesn't mean exactly like everything is. So just be understanding that something's not going their way right now, and just like I said, don't be too defensive, and just if you always put the patient's best interest at the forefront of what you're doing, at least you can go to bed and sleep easy knowing you did the right thing.
And if you genuinely have and it's still not working out, set your own boundaries and be like, we can't see each other.
That's it, exactly.
And that's fine too.
Yeah, exactly. Like, a breakdown of trust just happens, and that relationship is not conducive to success. So you need to just explain that to them. And I think people respect that sort of, and it takes time. Like, you can't just come out of FD and just be like, I'm going to say all these things to people. You learn how to do that. Yeah. And you only do that when you have more confidence in what you can and can't do. Yeah. Because there's things that I can't do. Like, I mean, what I would say is that after 6 years of being a dentist, or like, I think after like the 4.5 year mark, you kind of very much have a good idea of, these are the things I can do and do well. These are things that I don't do so well. And if something comes in and I don't feel comfortable doing it, no problem, I'm just going to refer you.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's where like young dentists get trapped, because they do just want to do everything because they feel like they need to prove something. And again, it's just, you learn it over time.
But everything just went well the first time, you would never learn anything.
Yeah, so, exactly. Yeah. And what message would you have for a dentist who is feeling stuck in their career right now? Like, they have heard this podcast, this episode, and they feel like they want to try out, they've thought of a product, or they want to try out business, or they want to try go part-time, try and do something else that they love. What message do you have for them?
I think just go for it. Like, I think just have a plan. Obviously, just think about it, but definitely just take a leap of faith and just go for it, because you can always come back to dentistry. Like, there's nothing stopping you, right? Just because you decide to like drop a few days doesn't mean you can't just pick up a few days later on.
Yeah.
And I think don't feel like, I mean, it's tough, right? Like, there's people out there who have mortgages and bills and stuff like that, and that's different. I'm not saying like default your mortgage and like go and do something else. Like, that, have responsibilities that you have, understandably, but take calculated risks. I think, fortune favors the brave, right? That's it. If you don't take risks, you're never going to know, like, you're always going to think, what if? And I think if you're feeling stuck in your career, first of all, I understand that a lot of people feel the same way as you. And I think there's validation there, and don't feel like you're alone, because it's a very lonely place, dentistry. Very lonely place, like you sit in a room with one person all day, that person's going in and out, because that's the nurse, for example, who's going in and out to like do decontam and things like that. And the patient's not there. You just sat there by yourself.
Yeah.
You don't get to sometimes talk about things. Some people do, I guess, because I have colleagues and stuff like that. But a lot of people don't. You just sit there, and at lunch you sit by yourself because you've been talking to people all morning. So you kind of just want to sit there and not say anything to anyone. So, and you just want to sit in your car and just not do anything. People think it's really like weird, but it's not. You just need a break. So it's a lonely place. So I think just do what's best for yourself, and you'll make mistakes. Like, as in, you might leave a job, and like I left one job where I think, looking back on it, I probably shouldn't have left that job.
Okay.
It's not always like, oh, I left a job and it was great, I went to this job. But it's like, no, actually, but now looking back on it, I was a bit hasty, and I maybe the grass wasn't greener. And again, you don't get that with hindsight, right? It's hard to have foresight in those scenarios. But I think just, you know, just take time and just understand that like there's so many things you can do out there. And if you decide that you want to stop doing dentistry for a little bit, that's fine. It's fine. Like it's a great career for that reason, right? The fantastic thing is that you can just do it one day a week if you want to.
Yeah.
It's one of the best things about it, you know? Absolutely fantastic.
That is true. We're very privileged in that sense.
Massively. Like other people can't do that. You have a role, it's a full-time role. Sorry.
Yeah.
Like we
you
need
either do it or you don't do it.
That's it.
There's no other option.
That's it. We need you here Monday to Friday
Yeah.
and you cannot be anywhere else. Like, and you can't work anywhere else because it's in your contract. So that's a very privileged position we have, that like if I want to work like I am a day and a half, I can do that. And if I could survive on a day and a half and I wanted to just go do my own things all the time, I would. So that's a good option, you know. So there's really good things about it as well. So
yeah, agreed. And I would say if you're feeling stuck, there's literally like just make one change. It can be the smallest change ever, but as long as you're not just continuing that cycle, if you just make a tiny change, hopefully something will come of it. So it doesn't have to be like quit your job. It doesn't have to be something extravagant. It can just be, I don't know, finish an hour early one day a week just to do something you love doing.
That's it. Yeah.
Simple.
Exactly. Yeah. I think small building habits takes time. So like do something very small, you're right, and then you can achieve constantly, and then you'll feel more like you'll feel better about doing it more and more often, you know. So I agree. That's a really good piece of advice actually. Like small changes work better sometimes than large mass scale changes, you know.
Yeah, but if you're also ready for a big change,
then just do it. Yeah, why not? Yeah, but
do whatever you want.
I think it's all personality based, right? Some people are very much just like jump 2 feet in kind of people, and some people are just a bit more conservative. And I don't think either way is right or wrong. It's just personality types.
Yeah,
you know? I'm kind of like an all or nothing kind of person.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. As you can see.
Okay, cool. Last question is, if you had a dream job, if you weren't a dentist, you weren't doing anything else, what's your dream job?
Obviously the easy answer is to be a footballer, but like that's every young English male's or British male's dream. But when I was younger, I wanted to be an architect, and I don't know, I just fascinated by like buildings and like you know what goes into making them, and like you know the mechanical engineering side of things. Like I think that stuff's really cool, and I think those people are really smart.
Yeah.
I think they just see the world quite differently, and I just think the reason I didn't go into it is I'm just terrible at art, like awful. I've always been awful. But yeah, something like that would be cool, you know. I think that would be something that I would be really interested in.
Very practical job.
Yeah, I don't know.
Very sensible.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean,
or footballer, right?
Yeah, it's like dream job. That's hard because like you know that's just saying like what would my dream be? My dream would be to just be a professional athlete, like because that's
fine.
Yeah, because that's just like I think that's just like the best thing. That's the best. I think it's the best job in the world, right? Because you get to maximize your potential as like a human being from a physical standpoint. You get like all the best nutrition. You get all the best care, you know, you get the best like optimized sleep routine. Like you just get access to things that the normal human being just doesn't get access to. Like I'm very fortunate. Like I'm the physio I'm working with. He's like the Achilles rupture rehab guy in the world. Like he works with like NBA players, cool. NFL players, Premier League footballers. So I'm getting like the first thing he asked me when I was when I came in was like, listen, how do you want to take this? Like, do you want to go like the kind of slow and steady route? Like, you know, if you're not that bothered about playing as soon as possible, we can do it slowly, or do you want to go like the pro athlete route? I was like, obviously pro athlete route. Like, tell me exactly what I need to do, what I need to take, what like protocol I need to hit, and let's just go for it. And he said, cool. He's like, it's going to be aggressive, but we have to. I was like, yeah, let's do it. So getting a view into that world of like what it takes to optimize your health and your performance and like that kind of stuff. I love that stuff. I absolutely love it. You know, I think I would thrive in that sort of scenario. So I would love that, yeah.
That's really cool. That's so professional athlete / architect.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. The architect thing was just more like, I think if I didn't do dentistry, I think that's what I was going to go down.
Yeah, in terms of like your actual practical career, but I like the athlete thing.
Yeah. Pro athlete, I think is the best thing, man. That's like the best job in the world. Or like, you know, for some people like acting and stuff like that. That stuff's just cool, you know?
Yeah, it is. So in another universe, that's what
I'm sure there's an Aaron somewhere in some universe who's a professional Premier League footballer.
Loads of universes.
Yeah. Probably only one where I'm meant to be a pro athlete in like some faraway universe, but hopefully I get transported there one day and I can live this life for a little bit.
Yeah, why not? Yeah. So thank you for coming on the podcast. And a message for everybody is that we are more than scrubs. We don't have to stay stuck in any situation that we don't want to be in. We can make small changes just to make an impact on our lives. And any last messages from you?
I'd say just like, yeah, just if you have an idea and you want to do something, just believe and just take that jump. And also that you're not alone, right? Like if you're feeling like, you know, overwhelmed and you feel like, you know, you can't speak to anyone, or you feel like you haven't got support around you, you do. And it doesn't make you any less of like, for example, like from a male perspective, I'd say from a male perspective, like you can get quite down about like being a provider and like being a protector, and sometimes if you can't do those things, you kind of feel where's my self-worth, like
Yeah.
what am I doing here, right? There's no shame in just admitting that you're feeling a bit vulnerable, because the people around you will pick you up. You know, they'll pick you up and they'll make you feel safe and sheltered till you're back to feeling like the person you are. You know, so I think don't ever feel like you're alone and you can't speak to anyone. And if you are speaking to someone and they're not giving you that support, then just stop speaking to that person. Go find someone else. You know, don't let your negativity spiral into something that's going to make you feel worse. You know, there's always an out. There's always an option, and yeah, just look after yourself, really.
Even if it's not like you don't want to talk to family or friends, professionals you can talk to. So
there's no shame in
always someone.
That's it. There's no like this whole kind of like stigma around like therapy and stuff like that. Like honestly, like if you need to speak to someone, you should. Like, you know, just getting stuff off your chest and just speaking sometimes and just getting out of your own head. Even if that person's not going to say anything, they're just a brick wall and they're just listening.
Yeah.
It will help a lot. So
just get it out.
That's it.
Okay, thank you.
No worries.